He came, he saw, he conquered. Christian Cardinal Tumi is now resting in the bosom of the Lord. His death was announced earlier on Saturday by His Lordship Archbishop Samuel Kleda, the Archbishop of the Douala Metropolitan Diocese. Bishop Kleda announced that Cardinal Tumi is no more, and may his soul rest in peace. Also coming up is the brouhaha at the National Bilingualism Commission, asking the people of Cameroon what needs to be done to fight against hate speech in the 237 territory. It is now obvious that 3 years after the National Bilingualism Commission was created, they seem not to know their job description in the fight against hate speech in Cameroon. It is also now obvious that they seem not to know that there is a law which was enacted by Cameroon's parliament in the fight against hate speech in Cameroon. If those laws actually do exist, and if they know of the existence of the law, why are they asking Cameroonians on what needs to be done in the fight against hate speech in Cameroon? Is it that they want Cameroonians to redefine their job description, or are they now helpless in the fight against hate speech in Cameroon? With hate speech on the rise, from the north being called the Ships, from the west being called different kind of names, and from those in the southwest and northwest being called the Bamenda, and those from the east region being called a different kind of names. What lies the fate of fighting hate speech in Cameroon as far as the National Bilingualism Commission is concerned? Is it time for us to look at a different perspective in the fight against hate speech in Cameroon? It is not obvious that until the lion produces its own historian, the story of the hunt will always be told to glorify the hunter, and to every child, the mother is the best cook. The National Bilingualism Commission to the government is the best cook. This is House of Commons with me, Tamai Jarvis. You're welcome back from this break, and if you are just joining us, you're watching House of Commons that comes up every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30 p.m. on my media prime here at Fengu Jombange, Cameroon's economic capital Douala. Today's edition, we will be looking at 3 different issues. We'll be having a brief stop at the death of Christian Cardinal Tumi, the memories and the legacy left behind. We shall equally look at the fight against hate speech in Cameroon, which is being piloted by National Bilingualism Commission. We shall equally look at the coalition of opposition party in the reform of electoral code. But before I introduce to you my guest, I want to wish a happy Easter to all those of you watching us, to my mom, my brothers and sisters, especially happy Easter to you and the edit of Kent Enterprise, Reverend Father John Paul Akumchi, the Bishop of Boya Diocese, His Lordship Michael Bibi. A happy Easter to you, and happy Easter to you, Tambe Brian. Happy Easter to you too, Kumliona, and all the crew of my media prime. Happy Easter to you, and happy Easter to my panelists, with whom I will be introducing in a couple of seconds or so. To kickstart today's edition, I welcome you, Prince Kotem, the son of the warrior. You're welcome to the program, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tamai Jarvis. Happy Easter to everyone here in the panel. I send a very warm Easter day to Mr. Leonard, who is a very big pilot. I know someone who knows how to pilot the plane very well. I send another happy Easter to my family back there in Yaoundé, the Ghana's family, the Zayn family, and another special one to my brother out there, Mr. Fabrice Lena, whom I know is doing a lot to see that the young people in this country will have a way forward. And I really want to thank you, but it's really a sad thing that we all today were celebrating Easter without our cardinal. And as you've said before, we're really going to talk about it, but it's really a sad one. However, happy Easter to all the televiewers of my major prime. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you too. Also here in the studio, we have no other person than Emmanuel Ndiwum. You're welcome to the program. Happy Easter to you too.
Thank you very much, Tamai Jarvis. A warm shout out to all my co-panelists. A special Easter Sunday to Chair Frederick Samalia, who is watching us right from Mayome Sala, and Madame Eno Anita, watching us live from the United States of America.
A happy Easter to you too, Professor Mark Akumbom, who is joining us here for this Sunday. It's nice having you here.
Oh, thank you, Jarvis. Happy Easter to you too, and to the million viewers of my Medium Prime, to my family, and to all well-wishers of this media. I want to say that the fact that some of us believe that we lost a great icon like Cardinal Tumi, we should not forget that he had actually been able to fulfill his mission on earth. He's not dying as a young man, and even if he died as a young man, certainly would have done what he was supposed to have done. And apart from the fact that he went to rest in Africa, we do not believe in the dead. The same way in Christianity, they don't believe in dead. They believe that people actually do get to transpose, enter the next dimension of life. And in Africa, we believe that he has taken a journey to meet the ancestors. And certainly, we will say, rest in power, because he has joined the ancestors. So we lost an icon in Cameroon, but we gained an ancestor. The same as we will say in the Catholic Church that we lost a cardinal, but we gained a saint.
Yes, we lost a cardinal and we gained a saint. Equally here in the studio is Mr. Me'enes. Mr. Me'enes, happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter, Jarvis. I want to seize this opportunity to wish all our televiewers a happy Easter. You know, today is Easter Sunday, and it is the most important day in the life of a Christian believer. You know, the Bible says in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 14 that our faith and preaching is of no value if Jesus Christ did not resurrect from death. So today is the most important day in a Christian's life. And also, I want to wish our Catholic family in Cameroon, I want to send them my condolences for the loss that they suffered over the weekend of the Christian Cardinal Tumi. You know, Christian Cardinal Tumi has always stood out as a fighter when it comes to social justice in Cameroon. He has also stood out as a critic of the government, as a forerunner in good governance in Cameroon, and as one of the persons who has also stood out as fighting for the social cohesion of the country and against hate speech. You know, back in 2018, when the Center for Human Rights and Democracy organized a workshop in order to inculcate the youth with thoughts on how to fight hate speech, he was there to accompany them. So it's a great loss to the nation Cameroon. We're really sad for that. It has touched everyone.
Thank you very much. I'll dive straight on today's edition of our topic. First, we'll have a brief stop at Christian Cardinal Tumi. We know yesterday we break the news here at My Media Prime with a 2 hours program dedicated to the great now saint, because I believe in Catholic Church, when you lost a bishop, you lost someone who dedicated his life to save God, whether it's a laity, it's a saint, as far as the person dedicated his life to do God's work. I'll begin with you, Ndiwum Emmanuel. When you got the news of Christian Cardinal Tumi, I want us to look at his advocacy on Anglophone crisis. What next after his departure? Are we going to have someone of his stamina to match word with action and to say the truth?
To be honest with you, when I'm sure that is one of our panelists, because I was not very sound, one of our regular panelists, Song Derek, who broke the news to me because he noticed that I've been so silent for some time. And when I heard the news, it was shocking to me. Not that he died, it was shocking because I had little knowledge of the fact that his health was not balanced of late. But one thing I quickly consoled myself with was the fact that Tumi is gone, but the cardinal lives on. The man called Christian Tumi is gone, but the cardinal that was in him lives on. And so I am comforted for that. But a big regret that crossed my mind was the fact that in this heated period of the Anglophone crisis, he has been very vocal. And the biggest regret is that he finally left without seeing the end of the Anglophone crisis as he would have loved to. Because he had opined, even though if you make a cross view, few divergent views as to whether Cardinal Tumi when I watched his homage yesterday on the national television, I saw him and I heard him spoke contrary to his former position about the Anglophone crisis. We have heard him say nothing good can come out of the regime in place, and that the crisis in the northwest and southwest, to be frank, cannot be solved by the regime in Yaoundé. But in other outings, we hear him again say the boys who picked up guns were wrong, and that the government is always correct. So we need to rally behind the government, love the country, teach patriotism, drop our guns, and look for the way forward. But in all of this, we applaud him for standing up tall. And in all of this, we also know that at his age plays down on people at times. You may say something in the morning, and in the evening, you are not able to paraphrase the same thing you said in the morning. But to answer your question squarely, I am not sure, because Anglophone elites are very dishonest people. I must tell you for sure. We know part of the Anglophone problem of this country is even the Anglophones, not those who are in power. So if we had somebody who was to an extent honest like Tumi, and he is gone, I'm very much afraid that it shall take us a very long time to have someone to replace him, because most of the Anglophone elite class in this country are very dishonest fellows, I must say.
Thank you very much, Prince. Are we going to have someone of his caliber who will be there to look at the regime and the Amber Boys and tell you that, hey, you are doing wrong, hey, you are doing right?
Tamai, thank you very much. I listened very keenly when my friend on the other side, Mr. Dimu Mwamo, was talking. You know, the Cardinal Christian Tumi is gone, but we pray he has gone to rest with the Almighty, the one that he served all his life. This is someone who was ordained priest, I think that was 1966, when he said he was ordained as a priest in 1966. Then, as a cardinal, for, I think that was 1988, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's 1988. That he has been a cardinal for 33 years. This is a whole lot of time to be a priest. I will tell you, Jarvis, I'm not a priest, but I've come across so many of them, and I think it's not to be a priest for a day. It's not an easy thing. Not to be a cardinal for 33 years. So, I think if we were because we should not bring. I should not bring that now. If we're in the Jewish time on the like, I think I would have proposed that he should be. There is some sort of canonization that maybe he should be seen as a saint someday. Why not a black saint too? If we have to go by that way. But as we say, this is a man who has done a lot. At this time, all what we need to do is to bring out what he did and try to push forward for what he has been striving for. But I will tell you, for what Christian Cardinal Tumi has done for this country, it will be so difficult, I say very, very difficult, to get someone like him again. Not to go the way of Dimum Emmanuel, but I will tell you that unlike some Anglophone elite, he has been very vocal and very, very clear. It is true that many people may not want to see things the way he saw it, but I think he has been very, very objective, because this is a man whom at his age, before he died, at his age, he was kidnapped by the Amber Boys, because not because he wanted to be kidnapped, but because he was paving his way to see how he can bring peace back to the crying Anglophone population. That he is a well-bred son of the Saw clan, and I may not want to go there on that other part, but I think as someone who was also recognized in the traditional society, it gives a whole lot of impetus to what he did, because it is not just each and every person or anyone that can be recognized, but all what he did, we may not want to enumerate all today, but it is really, really worthy to say that it is really a very big loss, and Cameroon will really have to regret if we don't strive to see how we can push forward for the agendas that he had actually been pushing forward for.
Okay. Professor Mark Akumbom, I want us to look at this from the Anglophone crisis and the church. When we look at the church now, are you sure we will have someone within this sphere of the church that can be vocal as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned, as Christian Cardinal Tumi was during his days on earth?
In every generation, individuals differentiate themselves through leadership skills and capacities. Back in the 60s, 70s, we had a certain Bishop Ndongu, who actually differentiated himself and stood out as a vocal churchman who spoke to power, and he was looked upon as an enemy to the state. The same thing happened when the opportunity was given to Bishop, or say Archbishop Emeritus Christian Tumi, who is the Cardinal of the Roman Catholic Church. When he was given the opportunity and removed from Garwa as Archbishop, brought down to Douala, it was in the midst of the 90s, 1991, when there was fire in this country. He is somebody who had been given the opportunity to work with most. In fact, he has spent his time working in French zones. So he knows the French people and the culture. And so Rome decided that he should stay in Douala, being the center where the boiling pot was. And he emerged, used his skills and knowledge, stepped out and became a voice for truth. He spoke truth to power without fear. Asking me if the likes of him we might be able to get to see again, I would say it might be difficult, but yes, we are surely going to see some of them emerge.
Okay.
He is like a seed that has been planted. Ndongmu fell into the ground, Tumi grew out, and now fruits are many. I remember last time a Jesuit priest, Ludovic, he didn't speak much, but he acted much. That was a sign. I was with him yesterday on the platform. We have Archbishop Nkia, who has been, whom I believe the Presbyterian Church has some persons who are talking about if has fallen. Line up of which had not been before, because courage, the courage that this cardinal portrayed and nursed, a lot of persons have been able to be, I use the word, corrupted by it. And because they have been corrupted, the expense of truth.
Okay.
It's just very normal that we have a lot of them that are going to come.
Okay. Mr. Ernest, you've been through the fair of the civil society, and you understand when such a news come up or what is expected of the people. Are you sure that the people at this point in time were prepared for the exit of Cardinal, with Anglophone crisis still on the table and Cardinal being a key player in reducing the violence and crisis? Were the people that ready to welcome his exit?
You know, Jarvis, it is really regrettable that we have to lose the Cardinal at this moment. You know, he had a lot of virtues in him, knowledge and skills gathered all through the years of service he has served the people. This was the moment that we were supposed to tap from his knowledge to be able to go forward. I believe he has left behind much of that knowledge that we are going to dig up. You know, the Cardinal loved the way Christ loved on a Good Friday. And when Christ died, the apostles went and hid themselves and were contemplating what shall become of us, until when he resurrected and then came back and showed himself to the people and said, wait, I'm going to send you the Comforter. The spirit of Cardinal is going to certainly come back and revisit the Anglophone population, and that same courage with which he has tackled the ills that are plaguing our society will be reborn in many Anglophone Cameroonians. You know, he was one of the proponents of the All Anglophone conference that was
to be held in Boya,
aborted in Boya.
Yeah.
And I believe if that conference had gone ahead, a lot of things should have been discussed that were going to pave the way for peace to return to this country. I might not know the reason for the state to frustrate such a conference, but the Cardinal had a lot to put in that conference.
Late Mayor Kmer said even if the head of state approved such a conference, he will not allow it to take place in his municipality. Both officials are no more as far as Cameroon is concerned.
That is just that it is to tell us that no matter what we fight to achieve in this life, we should know that we will one day live and leave behind a legacy, and that legacy is what is going to speak for us as we live.
We are going to live, not us. And that's where, when people are fighting against other people's legacies, they should know that they are. For example, we have a wrong image about the past mayor.
So
we
now look on to that. The spirit of the Cardinal should be reborn in most Anglophone. You know, we have chicken hearts in Cameroon, let me put it that way, but we have looked at the way the Cardinal has existed in a glorious manner, without fear of favor. I can remember the last time he was kidnapped by those Amba guys. He spoke into their faces and said, I am for a one federal Cameroon. And he was not even afraid to be killed. I'm
that is of the government.
I'm not the mouthpiece of you. Everybody listen to that video that came out from him in captivity.
Yeah, and if I may add something, Tamai, the passing away of the Cardinal is a great example, and it should serve as a lesson to all the Cameroonians, especially those top elites who I don't know if they understand the fact that what matters in life is not what matters in life is the legacy you leave behind, and this legacy is what is most important, because most of them up there, the way they live their life, it seems like today, tomorrow is not going to come, and you are going to live here internally. That is not how life. We should see this. We need to understand this. Yeah, thank you.
Now, to conclude, I just believe that it is a moment of stock taking for us Cameroonians to see how the Cardinal has left and try to see his way of life and see how we are going to implicate ourselves in the betterment of the Cameroonian society.
I am Tobias from Limbe. Our late Cardinal has fought a good fight and has gone to rest. May his soul rest in peace. I wish Cameroon may have someone as punctual as late Cardinal Tumi. Rest in peace, Cardinal. That is coming from Limbe. This other message reads, it says, happy Sunday to the House of Commons crew. It is coming from Peru in Kumba. This one reads, it says, greetings to you and the panelists. The problem of hate speech in Cameroon is a tool by the government to create a situation of divide and rule with the creation of the Commission of Bilingualism is just a waste of money and has no sense of direction. I am Pablo from the United Arab Emirates. Pablo from the United Arab Emirates. Thank you for your message. This one says greetings to you all in the studio. Happy Easter. Special greetings to Prof. Mark. I admire him a lot. Piru from Kumba, Keta, and Piru, thanks for your message. Now we'll move straight to the topic of today. I begin with you, Diwum Emmanuel. Let's set the ball rolling. Hate speech in Cameroon. How helpless is the Bilingualism Commission? We've seen the recent outing calling stakeholders alongside with the president of the Cameroon Association of Cameroon English-speaking journalists to discuss as to ways in which the government can fight hate speech in Cameroon. Can we say the body was first not prepared?
Well, you would have noticed that I'm constantly smiling because when I look at the topic there, they say Bilingualism Commission now helpless. When you use the word now, somebody listening to us would think that it was helpful someday.
So it's never been helpful?
Bilingualism Commission, I will be very succinct, has never for 1 second been helpful. And I explain. You see, it is on the same platform that I told you that create 10 million commissions in Cameroon with the same leaders that we have in place. The results shall be known before they are created. And I'm sure that the day this Bilingualism Commission was created and the leader named, I was called somewhere to talk about this. That was 3 years ago. And I said it was non-event. You see, how do you create a commission to fight about your own self, to fight against yourself? Let's look at where hate speech is starting from Cameroon before thinking of how Bilingualism Commission can go to deter the existence of this hate speech. I give you an example. In 1966, during the tripartite, there is a high-placed authority of this country who openly told Anglophones that if you are not comfortable, go back and meet the Biafrans.
So that was before the commission was created, not the...
Listen, I'm coming. When he said it, the pain was nursing in people, not only the Anglophone community, but people of goodwill in this country. Even his colleagues, who were high placed, but he remained untouchable. He was just recently named again into the, whether they call it what, council. That was one. When the Anglophone crisis started, you know that, without calling names, we know people who gained their appointments in this country into high offices through hate speech. We know those who call people dogs, and that dogs were to be battered, shattered, maimed on the streets. They were promoted. We have a parliamentarian in the Robert Stamp House, glass house in Yaoundé today, who came out in the television and said the Constitution gave Mr. Biya the right to erase the Anglophones, and that Mr. Biya has not been respecting the Constitution so well because he is avoiding that portion of the Constitution that gives him the right to erase one part of this country if it means to keep the country in unity. Nothing was done. He's a parliamentarian. We know of somebody who was a common primary school teacher who was given the post of a bursar in a secondary school in Yaoundé because he constantly came out with hate speech against the Graphi who were in Southwest. He was promoted, I think being recommended by some members who are by some people who are members of this Bilingualism Commission. And now you are asking me today, are they helpless? They have never been helpful.
I'm sure that was before the commission, no? Was created, no?
Oh my God!
And it Cameroon has to be clarified so that you should know when it was before and when it was after. Because someone should not say no, you are saying because it was before.
No, about that. I am telling you that I have taken out time to map out when, who said what, I was when. Remember that the parliamentarians are just 1 year, some months old into the office. But this parliamentarian I'm talking about in Yaoundé said this thing a year and 8 months after the creation of the Mosonge Commission. It's a certain Bingono in Yaoundé who is in the CPDN who said it and even went ahead to quote the Bible. That do we know the number of times that God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah in order to make peace, if it means that the president should erase the population of Northwest and Southwest so that he can protect the territorial integrity of Cameroon, the president should do it. All those things are his speech. We have one Monja who have been gallivanting the whole street in Boya, calling people come no go. And remember, the prime minister went there and babysitted him. He left without a word of caution.
Okay.
He was received as a hero for hate speech. And you tell me that Mosonge Commission can do something.
I'll be coming back to you.
It has never been helpful.
We'll be coming back to you. Prince Kotem, when the commission was created as fallout of the Anglophone crisis, that was immediately after the Bamenda conclave, when we had the Paul Mingot Gogomo Interministerial ad hoc committee that held in Bamenda, and they said no, there is need for Bilingualism Commission. I was created. We are now into almost 3 years after the creation of the commission. The members seemingly not to know their job description, or is it that something is wrong somewhere?
Thank you very much, Tamai. From your editorial, you keep saying 3 years. Now you've said 3 years again now. It is 4 years, 2 months, 8 days old. That commission was created by law number 2017/013 of 23rd January 2017.
I said almost.
Well, whatever. The problem is the longevity, the length at which, because remember, this commission was created in 2017 at the time where we thought the Anglophone crisis was at its peak, you understand, because when the crisis erupted in 2016, late 2016 to 2017, and when in 2017 that is when we start seeing bloodshed, gunshots everywhere, and we thought the crisis was at its peak. And because we like window dressing solutions, the powers in place thought that because this crisis is still excavating, and they think that maybe one of the reasons, or the reason which is being poured on the crisis, is the fact that there is hate speech, there's no living together, especially it's not only among the Northwest and the Southwestern, but the country as a whole. So they thought that the best solution to do was to create the Bilingualism Commission. But there is something which most people always fail to understand, and this is what I want to point out, and that is where I may differ with Diwum Emmanuel, in the sense that when you look at before you judge this commission, you have to go into the intricacies, the reasons why, pardon me, you have to look at the law and what it states while creating this commission. What are the legal status of this commission? What are its duties and duties that it has to play? Because the legal status of the commission gives it that it has just financial autonomy, but it serves as an advisory organ to the presidency. I don't know if we're getting it. It serves as an advisory organ to the presidency. It therefore means it's some sort of commission where regulatory body. It's some sort of commission where it goes out to the general public, gathers information, gets the information from the people, and knows what is wrong, then comes back to the presidency and reports that this is what we have actually seen, Mr. President, and this is what happened. It is left for the President of the Republic to react, to take decisions. It is not different from other commissions that have been created. It is not different from, how do they call it? I don't want to say CONAC, but a where you come, you carry out information, and you go back and you give the information, and there is someone who is supposed to sanction, and not you. That is where some of these problems are coming from. Then we should also go forward to look at the level of what are the main reasons, what are the objectives they are pursuing. One is to ensure national unity. Two is to ensure that there is that living together, that harmony. Now, how do you want to ensure harmony? How do you want to ensure national unity? This is where they also get it wrong. They said now they are coming up because remember the past week they have been working on seminars on how to revamp, how to oversee on the issues that are concerning hate speech and other things that are related to this law. So within this domain, they have come up with a solution. One is that they adopt a day that we should put on a traditional regalia in order to show that we are living together, we are living in harmony. Mr. Tamai, how does Professor Mark's traditional Northwest regalia prove that we are living together? Because he's putting it on. If I put on I'm putting on a suit, it's like a white man's dressing style. Does it mean I have the same way of seeing the white man and his mentality? No, that is not how it is. We have to win. When you have serious problems, you need to bring up serious solutions to tackle these problems. That is why I'll go for to say the Musonga Commission, it is not wrong. It's not a mistake, but it's a calculated act, because we want to turn around the same thing without bringing out the correct solution. What they should do is to go back, sit on the drawing board and say, this is not what we have to do to tackle this problem. Because remember, hate speech is being propagated everywhere, even on national televisions. It is even a tool during the electoral period. During the electoral period, I don't want to start by the hate speech is not something of today. In the 1992 presidential elections, they saw what happened. There are elites who have been promoted to high ranks because they brought hate speech in order to separate not only the Anglophone people, but even the people from the West, from the people from the center, south, and the center. We saw these elites, and they are still there. What is happening? There are others who are still living today. There are even associations that are being formed, and they are being given legal status for promoting hate speech. Let's not hide some of these things. Yes, we should be straight and touch them on the way they are supposed to be touched. Because if we don't see, Tamai, look, I am a victim. I remember it was it's a week, 3 days now. I left from the southwest, and when I entered Yaoundé around 11 p.m. rather. So I needed to get something, and I picked a taxi. I had a problem. I picked a taxi, and when the distance, the rule is that after 10 p.m. Taxi fare is 300 francs. If you don't negotiate, that is the rule. So I took the taxi, I boarded the taxi, and I said, it's a distance for 100 francs during the day, but I said 200 francs. I proposed 200 francs, and I entered. But because at a particular period of time, I had to send a voice note, a voicemail to a family, so I did it in English, and there were other people in the taxi. So when there was even something which came, the reaction when I spoke in English in the taxi, everybody was like, ah. Then later on, when he dropped me, I gave him 200 francs. He told me no, it is 300 francs. I said no, why? But you have collected even 100 francs from other people. He told me, you are not the one to decide or how much I collect from who I want to collect. He started bringing out derogatory statements. Vous les anglophones, c'est comme ça, vous êtes les ambazoni, vous êtes les PD, regarde ton pantalon. See, today I'm still looking at my trouser when I put it on. I don't know how I look like. That is some of these things. But one thing I want to say is, it is not that there are so many fine and good brains of French-speaking Cameroonians out there who don't do that. It's just unfortunate that you have some of these idiots who propagate that, and they don't propagate it because they want to propagate it. No, I'm not saying it. I did not say no. You shouldn't confuse this. Well, someone who does that should be given accredited to that.
Prince, we'll be coming back to you. We'll be coming back to you, Professor Mark. The Bilingualism Commission, as Prince spelled out, that it's an advisory body,
Yes.
which is aimed at advising the government. Yes, and
The president.
the president to take action against hate speech. But there is a law that was enacted by Cameroon's parliament to
2019.
fight against hate speech in Cameroon.
2019.
And the commission is there to enforce, to ensure that these laws are being respected by Cameroonians and guide law enforcement officers on what to do. But we see hate speech moving left and right. Is the commission also helpless in advising the government?
Tamai, not to get into polemics, I want to begin by saying that the laws of this nation cannot be enforced by a commission. We have a judiciary body in Cameroon that actually execute laws, put laws into play. And so it is not their function to bring people to book for hate speech. Like Kotem actually outlined there, that particular body exists just for advisory purposes to the presidency. And the funny question is, do you know the person who is leading that commission? Do you know most of the divisions that exist between Sofa and Grafi, Bakwere, or Southwesterners? I followed a meeting where he spoke and said it is the Northwesterners who are creating the division. In fact, who are destabilizing the Southwest.
That they have to go back.
And so they need to stand up together to make sure that they stamp out that out of their community. That was a terrible speech, which to me, as the head of such a commission, would not have come from him. Notwithstanding, if you see, if a commission is given to somebody whom himself has a problem with the same problem he's struggling to handle, what do you expect? You shouldn't have tangible results. Let's keep that aside. In Cameroon, laws are made. We have good laws. I say good laws. But question, who puts these laws into practice? We have laws that are not put into practice. The Bilingualism Commission is not having the duty of actually executing the law which was enacted in 2019. That's the hate speech law. That law in itself is an instrument that is supposed to silence hate speech from Cameroon. But why is it not being used? Like Kotem said, every day of my life I face that as long as I'm in this Douala. Where when you speak in English, this is all as Anglophone. I asked somebody, so if you call me Anglophone, will you find it nice if I turn and call you Francophone? The person say, vous êtes le gauche. So, you know what that means? We are people who are left. We don't have, we never do anything right. With that kind of communication in our community, coming first from the leaders, because if we have to start dealing with hate speech in Cameroon, we must begin from the leadership. You listen to Dium relating to you an issue where the governor of a region boldly called the people that he is supposed to be leading dogs. Another young man sat on top of a TV, played down. That's the same how Rwanda genocide started.
Yeah, I do the
You sitting in a TV and said they should exterminate a people. Just imagine the kind of reaction that can come when a people believe that they are about to be exterminated. I remember there's a story in the Bible where Esther, who was married to a king, was sitting in the palace and a decree came from that same palace that her people should be wiped out.
Yeah.
And she was sitting there until one of his uncle, in fact his uncle, Mordecai, had to step out and say, okay, if you choose not to do anything, don't forget when they kill these people, they'll still kill you in his palace.
And she fasted and prayed.
So she went for a fasting and then reacted.
Yes, and
the purpose of the fast was to give her courage to be able to face her king. And she faced the king, and the king came to his senses and reversed this and told them, I cannot actually take away my words that I've already released. The only way to reverse those words is that people should go and pick arms. You make sure you slaughter every member of his house, and anyone who wants to attack you. Is that what we want to be preaching?
No.
So we should, because you want to eliminate a people, like you just quoted, using the député,
Yes.
the nation, who claimed that a group of people could be wiped out in order to keep the integrity of the nation. And then such language used vulgarly and nothing is done. I wish that the leadership of this nation could understand the kind of seeds they are sowing.
But my question is, Professor, briefly, so that we'll move to Mr.
Yes.
Enes. My question is, there is a law of hate speech in Cameroon,
Which was enacted in
2019.
Yes.
Why are you calling stakeholders to ask them how we can fight hate speech, whereas this law is already there? Is it that the commission does not have a job description?
That is the issue. Failing to understand that they do have one job description, which I think is advisory, to advise. I don't know what they are looking for to ask stakeholders. If you come to ask me, I give you back the answer. There is a law. That law is an instrument to fight hate speech. If you cannot use the law, then why was it made? And like I said, if that law is supposed to be used, it must begin from the top.
For sure. That's why. That is
Where-
why it is very difficult.
Where the individuals concerned should be dealt with categorically, so that common Cameroonians can know that if you make such alterations, you'll be going in for it. You know, that law says if you are an official of the government, you are a political party leader,
There's a
you have
mitigating circumstances and an aggravating circumstances.
Yes, a
in
civil
the-
society leader, it is doubled.
Okay, Prof. Thank
So
you.
it is very, very important that the you call them what again?
Bilingualism
The
Commission.
Bilingualism Commission should get to understand
Okay.
that they have a duty to remind the president, because that's their work, that there is a law which had been enacted
Prof,
for that
thank you.
purpose,
Yeah, maybe
which
Tama
is
should
not
just
being used,
add.
Mr. Tamai. Let them remind the government,
See on that
so
commission.
that law could go into use.
We're coming to
Let
you.
them stop asking
Yeah.
stupid questions.
Briefly.
Yes, I just want to add something
Mr.
about that
Enes.
commission, okay? There is an issue which people fail to understand. You know, when they see the Musonge commission, they always brandish Musonge in front, or they put the face, he's the brand ambassador and the likes. But sorry, he is not the one who takes the decision. He is not the one who ensures the day-to-day management and running.
Okay.
Why? Because that commission has a secretary general which is being appointed, who is being appointed by the president of the republic, and
Okay.
he is the one as per the functioning. He is the one who carries out the technicals and the managerial activities of that commission,
Thank you.
not Musonge, who is just a chair.
Thank you. Ashu Mike says, if Cameroonians love their fatherland, they should avoid statements like graphic people, Cam no go, les gens de anglophone, les Biafra, les gens comprennent pas votre anglais, la sécessionniste, 2 cubes of sugar, dogs. There is no anglophone problem, and the government has won the war. That is coming from Mike. This other one reads, it says, good afternoon to you and the panelists. It is Lista Montana from Yaoundé. Mr. Tamai, the hate speech on Anglophone is too much and hurtfully, especially if you are helpless at that point in time. This one reads, it says, happy Easter to you, Mr. Jarvis, and the entire panelists. great minds with very interesting topic. Keep the good work. I am Edin Shetembong watching from Halifax, Canada. Thank you very much. This other reach says greetings and happy Easter to you, Mr. Jarvis, all the panelists in the studio. If the Bilingualism Commission want to do their work well, they should start from Mr. President because he is not bilingual. This is Chin Clinton in Douala. Happy Easter to you all in the studio. This death of Cardinal Toumé is just a gateway for freedom of Anglophone because he was us. Well, okay, thank you, Mi Babu Imbamenda. I've heard your message. Read. Mr. Menes.
Yeah.
This commission was created, as Prince quoted there, that it is an advisory body and not an independent regulatory body. Like someone we have, like the National Communication Council, which is an independent regulatory body that has the power to take decision. But this same body is calling stakeholders to ask how we can fight hate speech in Cameroon when they were members of parliament, and they are still members of parliament, who voted laws of hate speech in Cameroon. They are law enforcement officers, they are commissioners, they are generals, they are judges who are seated on these laws and know the existence of this law. Are those not the people that need to be called by this commission to say, what are you people doing as far as these laws in fighting hate speech in Cameroon are concerned?
Yeah, Jarvis, there is this cliche, should I call it a cliche or a fact that is always stated, that whatever that is done in Cameroon is a window dressing. It has been used until we look at it to be a normal statement. Jarvis, most people have said the Bilingualism Commission was just a window dressing to addressing the Anglophone crisis. And you know, gullible people like us who easily believe that the state has the will to address the problems plaguing Cameroon, because we know it's not only the Anglophone crisis that is facing Cameroon. When we talk of multiculturalism, bilingualism, we are looking
those from the north are being called the Montong, those from the west
we are looking at the various components of the Cameroonian society. So it was really a laudable effort for the Cameroonian government to come out with something like the Bilingualism and Multiculturalism Commission. But when we look at the manner in which the commission has been given autonomy and given power to work, we see that it is like giving the commission ears and eyes to see, even a mouth to talk. They cannot talk. They just act as an advisory to the president. It's the president who now decides everything. You look at a commission without a mouth and hands. They just serve as the eyes and the ears. So we have heard, we have seen, and it stays there. You cannot even speak out to say, I'm addressing this issue. You cannot even address the issue. For me, the commission is really helpless in the face of what I will call high-handed authorities. You see, in this country, I was very appalled when I saw the vox pop that the commission sent out. How can hate speech and xenophobia be regulated? I underlined that word, regulated. It touched my bone. How can we regulate something that we don't like?
They don't know that there is...
The word regulated means that we need to manage it to an acceptable level. We cannot regulate something that we don't like. It was really appalling to me, and I looked at it as a provocation that we should allow certain aspects of hate speech in Cameroon or xenophobia in Cameroon when we use that word regulated. Because let me tell you, Jarvis, what comes out of your mouth is a product of aforethought. You must have thought of it before speaking it, not to even talk of something written. It is written and pushed.
Maybe it was a translation.
No, it is not a translation in English. It is the commission is headed by somebody who is an Anglophone, who speaks English very well, understands the use of English words. So let us not say that it was a translation error. Regulating what we don't like in society? No, it cannot be like that. We need to actually sit up and begin to face facts. We don't want xenophobia in Cameroon. We don't want hate speech in Cameroon. We are fighting against it. We don't regulate it. That's one of the things. But let me say, in Cameroon, we have this situation. Jarvis, it is really annoying, and it is really spirit breaking that we have a country where they are our leaders who, in the name again of fighting hate speech, they are the one promoting hate speech. Let me tell you, this country is fond of implementing the role of divide and rule. That is their principle. Hate speech is not something in Cameroon that is coming from the people. The people of Cameroon can live on themselves without any problem. But the problem comes from the authority because they want to stay in power. They want to maintain their position. You know, there is a saying in administrative law that if you want to rule better, you divide the people. Pour mieux régner, il faut diviser. So this is the practice. And it is what is happening in Cameroon. And we, the people below there, underneath there, what can we do? We can't do anything to face authorities. You see what is happening all around. People are taking up hate speech. It is coming from an authority. Let me tell you, Jarvis, when you are already admired as an authority in a country, whatever thing you say, people who support you will just rush behind you to say, no, it is right. Ça vient du leader. It is coming from the leader. So it is right. What will happen if somebody in a government office or a position of authority uses some derogatory words? It becomes a mean. It becomes the talk. It becomes what is accepted in society. We should first of all stand by addressing our leaders. They are the ones fomenting this hate speech. They are the ones promoting this xenophobia.
Maybe I should just correct something. You know, Tamai, before you left me. No, before you left me.
Oh, you're correct.
No, not from him. Okay. I said yet what I said. Because before you left me, I said something and I made mention of the word
continue,
right? So
continue.
I wanted to say like what Ima is trying to say. When these people at the base, we at the base, suffer from what those elites are doing by using derogatory statements to divide us, that is where I say that those who foolishly copy what they are doing, they should be seen as idiots. I didn't say that is how they are. And to add is the fact that in Cameroon, hate speech is not different from corruption. It's not different from the, I don't want to say, but from other commissions that they have been put in. This is a way is a mechanism that they are using to stay in power and control the people to remain in misery.
Okay. Hello, my prime time. It is my media prime. Hate speech is the main stuff fueling the Anglophone problem. For example, go to Njume Franklin page and see the kind of hate speech he is foiling, and the government is doing nothing about it. Shako from Germany. This other one read, it says, greetings to you in the studio. May the soul of his lordship rest in peace. If there is one thing I have learned from Cardinal Toomey, then it is tolerance. This one is coming from a viewer. Want to say happy Sunday to you. Let me get you. The viewer, I will get his name later because of connection problem. We have one minute each for this particular session. Then we'll dive straight to part 2, part 3 of the program. What should be done? Let me speak now in the voice of the National Communication Bilingualism Commission. What should be done to regulate? No, he said we should not use the word regulate.
No, we cannot regulate what we don't like. It means we are accepting some facet of it. We don't like any part of it.
What should be done to eliminate hate speech in Cameroon? 1 minute.
Tamai Jarvis, you know that 1 minute will not be enough.
But 1 minute.
You see, hate speech in Cameroon has been a fatal and deliberate factor to put the regime in place, to remain in power. That one, there's no gainsaying about that. Hate speech in Cameroon is not from you and I, from the bottom. Hate speech in Cameroon is coming from above, because it's like that, like Mr. Enes said there. You see, I want to believe that this theory of divide and rule should be made a big faculty of its own in ENAM, because it is coming from these high-profile authorities. And you have to understand. Let me cue you to something that happened in Okutunya this week. You saw an administrator, a duo, who is supposed to be ruling and administrating the people, who came out because a school was burned, bonded out people, say, Madam, you are the one selling petrol. You shall pay for the sins of all the people in this village. That is a terrible word coming from an administrator. He went to the other parents. I say you are picking Mother Ambano. We say you are get picking the present or you are get picking them. That is an administrator from Enam and a dictator. And that is what I've often said. For this hate, yes, Kungi in Kambe. That is where it happened. And I want to tell you that you are asking what should be done.
Briefly, we are
yes, Mr. Jarvis.
30 seconds.
I think Enam, as I've always said, should be closed down completely.
Okay.
and a law permanently made to punish whosoever, irrespective of your class and your political party. Because what is killing us most is that if you do it from the opposite party, you'll be punished.
Thank you.
But if you do it from the ruling party, you will not be punished.
What?
They are the untouchables.
You have been talking for so long, 30 seconds. What can be done to regulate his speech, to eradicate his speech in Cameroon?
Tamai, to eradicate his speech, you know, what should be done? Give the Cameroonian youth jobs. Create a conducive environment for investment.
Cameroonian youths are not,
because it is because of the lack of these jobs, they're idling around. It's because of the frustration that they're getting that you see this hate speech is being promoted. Francophones, Cameroonians think that Anglophone Cameroonians are depriving them from a whole lot of things that they needed to get all to themselves. Anglophone Cameroonians are thinking that Francophone Cameroonians are bad. No, where those people who are doing those things are the administrators. Give them the jobs, create conducive atmosphere, and you see that hate speech will cease to exist.
Professor Akumbo, 1 minute for this segment, so I'll move to the other topic.
You know, we have been talking about hate speech without actually defining what it is. If you go back looking at it at an international level, they have not been able to give a standard definition for what hate speech is. If you want to look at it at an individual level, you say hate speech is whatsoever is said or done against an individual or a community, which actually can push them to violence and other crimes. Yes. So when you look at it, you realize that for this violence not to come up, for people not to be derogated, for people not to be underlooked, we have to get to the place where we redefine what it means to be a Cameroonian. Because,
so I will talk on other topics.
We need to redefine what it means to be a Cameroonian, because in reality, many Cameroonians do not know who they are. They don't know what it means to be a Cameroonian because they are not taught citizenship in reality.
Okay.
Patriotism is something that is lacking amidst Cameroonians, and as a result of that, corruption has engulfed a lot of individuals who, by virtue of what they have been able to collect, they now feel like they can smash on others. And so that has given them the opportunity, especially talking of those who have been lifted in power, they sit and they talk down on those whom they are leading. And where does that come from? I joined the room to say it is coming from ENAM.
Okay.
ENAM is one of those bodies that has propagated more hate than good.
Professor,
so it needs to be scrapped down. Then our leaders we need to be able to use the laws, because you asked that question. The law that was enacted in 2019 should go functional, because it is already a law that punishes everybody.
Thank you.
If they do the wrong.
Briefly.
Yeah, Jarvis, actually to fight hate speech in Cameroon, like my brother Professor McAntony said, we really need to define who or what it means to be a Cameroonian. You know, hate speech, as we are using it as it is, it does not end at the level of altering of words. Yeah. It's a preparatory ground for heinous crimes such as genocide. Look at Nazi Germany. The genocide against the Jews was prepared through hate speech against the Jews. They were given tax, they were given labelings, and it ended up with their elimination. Look at the Rwandan genocide. So hate speech is something that we actually need to combat. So in order to combat it in Cameroon, we first of all need to inculcate into leaders that when you are in a position of authority, you are there for the entire Cameroonian society. You are not there for a particular tribe. You are not there for a particular group of people of a region. You are not representing you are representing Cameroon in a position of authority. So when you are speaking, you speak in the position of a Cameroonian.
Thank you. What is the meaning of a common primary school teacher if that is not his speech? It's coming from an anonymous sender. Someone viewing us talking about it, so that I'm sure that was attributed to you in the womb when you said a common primary school teacher was elevated to a bursar in the secondary school.
Yes.
So that is hate speech.
Yes.
So so it means you two can be held liable for hate speech. We'll take a break, a brief transition. When we come back, we'll move to the final topic, which is opposition coalition. Can this pave the way for in terms of resolving the ongoing Anglophone crisis? We'll be right back. You're welcome back from this transition. We are moving straight away to the last topic of today. I'll begin with you, Professor Mark Akumbom. I will reverse the order in which I'm taking. This time around, we are looking at opposition coalition in terms of resolving the Anglophone crisis. We've seen opposition come into a coalition to look at the electoral code, reform electoral code. But should that be the priority? Is it not time for them to come together in terms of resolving the Anglophone crisis?
Like I said on this platform the other day, first of all, the initiative of coming together is applaudable. It is something we should all begin by appreciating before going to look into the reason why they came together. They came together for the purpose of actually doing reforms on doing reforms on the electoral code. But there are more pressing issues in Cameroon which I think that should be looked into, which I think every opposition party should come together to fight. And I'll tell you this, Mr. Jarvis, that this idea of coalition is something that Cameroonians have been waiting for a long period of time. I don't think that the SDF should make the MRC an opponent, nor should the MRC make the PAP an opponent, nor the PAP make the UDC an opponent. All of them are opposition party, and as long as they have not yet defined themselves as opposition, who are they opposing? Are you opposing the opposition, or you are opposing the regime? And that is the thing that they have not yet been able to understand. If they understand and define that, they will understand why they should come together. And when they come together, we have pressing issues like the Anglophone crisis that for 4 to 5 years now has been actually destroying Cameroon economically, politically, socially. Cameroon is losing lives. Young people are dying every day. When you come to the military, you see young boys who must send, children who just go 18, 19, 20, 21 years, who just go for 6 months training and they send them to go fight. Most of them go and they are killed. We have the other young guys in the opposite side, the Amber boys, whom are being slaughtered, killed every day. Then let us skip that and look at the civilian community and public who have no guns, but they are suffering the most. And this coalition actually comes, they didn't see that as the first thing to discuss. I think they need to go back and put that as a topic of discussion and a topic of deliberation. And apart from that, Cameroonians these days are crying every day. I went to buy a bag of rice and I asked the price and I was a little bit shocked. Something that I bought at a particular period of time for 16,000, this time was for 25,000. So the question is, what has given that increase of close to 10,000 francs on top of it? That is what Cameroonians are facing out there. The increase of prices of things which we do not have a reason for. Then we also look at the electricity problem that we have every day. We have water problem that we have every day. Those are things that if this coalition wants that the people should rally behind them, they should be dealing with. They should use that as a means to pressure the government in order for the government to make sure they execute it. I want to tell you something. The reason why SDF stamped itself out and came out strong as one of the strongest opposition parties earlier in the 90s and early 2000s is because of the fact that they took the people first into the heart. Okay. And because of the fact that they showed us that they were representing our voices, and they were pushing on issues that Cameroonians really wanted that should be done, people rallied behind them. Okay, thank you. They only lose that later on when, you see, they started losing the crowd when power became their interest. Thank you, Professor. And I will say this, if this coalition that is being formed now does not, they should not focus more on, okay, we want to go and take the presidency so that we can do this and that. They should focus on building the ground, attracting the public to join their opinion. Thank you. And when that happens, you will see a big boomerang in this stuff in the next elections.
Thank you, Prof. Hello, Mr. Jarvis. Cameroon has just lost a great man who fought until his last breath for peace to come back in Cameroon. Yet most of us want to believe the younger brother of the Cardinal, Mr. President, will solve the war with some commission surrounding him. Let us love each other independently of our tribes. Max Benyun from Düsseldorf, Germany. Let me come to you, Prince. Can an opposition coalition help resolve the Anglophone crisis instead of pushing to reforms of electoral code?
Thank you very much, Tamai. It is a very straight question. Can the oppositions, can a coalition between the opposition parties help to resolve the Anglophone crisis? You have to remember, we're talking about the Anglophone crisis, 5 years running down, and we have more than 300 political parties in Cameroon. I think if not 300, 315 and above and the likes. Now, but the problem is, who are these oppositions? That is the first question we have to ask ourselves. What are their objectives? Do they actually, who are they opposing? It's another question, because we seem to be in a situation where everybody just stems from nowhere and thinks that because he can say one or two words in English and in French and has a brother and sister somewhere, he is an opposition. No, that is not what we have to start. We have to look at those people who are affecting, those political parties that are doing things to affect the life of the Cameroonian people, whom I really want to salute the effort of the Popular Action Party. They are doing a very great job out there. I think it's a party which I'm very close to, and I know what they're doing. You have the Social Democratic Fund. I want to, unlike what people are saying, Honorable Osing is also doing his best to see how they can come out from the course that they are. But now, can this opposition actually reunite? That is the question. Well, I named some of these, and I did not actually name all. You have the PCRN, which is another party which is doing fine, the CRM and the likes and the likes. But now, what are their philosophy? What are their objectives? What is the position they hold where decisions are to be made? That is the question. Now, if you say this opposition can come together, yes, it is true they can come together. But when they come together, what effect does it produce? Because imagine a situation where the SDF rallies with the CRM, the PCRM, PAP, and other parties that are in line, and decides that, okay, we want to push forth to see that this crisis is being resolved. Where will they go to ensure that this crisis will be resolved? Remember, oppositions, some party members were having meetings the other day in Yaoundé to talk about the reforms of the electoral code, and before you understood, there was a head boy already in the house and saying that the class master has said this and the class master is saying this and the likes and the like. When you have this type of scenarios, you see that this is, we're talking about the electoral code, which the people have been crying. Even the ruling party itself is saying that electoral code too may have some things, but it is the law. But they also understand the electoral code has some lapses. Even if a matter which is as serious as that, a head boy comes in. Imagine the Anglophone crisis, where some people said it's like 2 cubes of sugar in a bucket, and when you put it, it has no effect. The Anglophone crisis, where people say, if you guys are tired, walk away. Now, where do you think people will even come together to sit to start talking about this? And if it doesn't end, it doesn't end at that level. If these people actually decide to come out, what are the representatives that they have where the quarters where the power is being made? Remember, SDF has actually stood forth almost individually, single-handedly to say this. Who listened? Nobody. The PCRA is there in the National Assembly. The SDF is there. But what are the majority? What is their number? It is not CPD has aligned them. So I don't think it is impossible for them to come together, but they have to look for a better mechanism.
It means at the end of the day, from what you're saying, it means we are helpless. Happy Easter Sunday to you all, panelists. Bilingualism Commission has failed woefully as hate speech still continues to manifest in Cameroon. I would love to be at the panel next time. Kasmila Ketu in Bonaberi. Kasmila, after the program, contact me. You will be in the panel next week if you want to be members of, if you want to be a member of this panel. And to those of you watching us, if you want to participate on a debate, feel free. My number is on the screen. Contact me. I'll give you the topic during the week so that you can be member of this panel. It is open and it is free for all as long as you take responsibility for your statement. This other one reads, it says, happy Easter to you all. Instead of being eradicated, it's instead growing because some leaders don't have basic moral ethics. It's coming from an anonymous sender. Greetings to you all panelists. Please, you should not be preaching against hate speech and at the same time using it on other platforms, on other professions. One of you just said a common primary school teacher. How common is a primary school teacher who laid a foundation for you to be where you are today? That's hate speech is coming from Pekwefo Gregory from Bamenda, and that I'm coming straight to you who made that statement. Fortunately, is been addressed to you. We don't have time, but a reaction to this message, yes. And then can opposition coalition help resolve the Anglophone crisis? You have 3 minutes.
Yeah, I want to say that some of our viewers, they use their eyes very well to watch, but at times they don't use their ears very well. You have to make a dichotomy between what is hate speech and what is language. So I've answered that question. You see, when we are talking about coalition and the possibility to outsmart the events that are going on now, I want to briefly look at it like this. You know, I've often told you that the problems that Cameroon has at the moment are both all political parties put together. Coalition in itself is a laudable initiative. It's something that every good loving citizen of Cameroon should be for. But now, do we have what we call priorities in this country? Because in 2018, it was a very good time for these so-called political parties to have merged together for a battle at that time. But they failed. They failed woefully because of egocentricity. You see, for them to come together is a good initiative. But the timing, to me, is what poses a problem. Because some of them will tell you that they are beefing up towards 2025 elections. But I want to put to them this question, you the opposition parties coming together. People have been dying in Southwest and Northwest every day. I have not heard you people come out to say you want to make a coalition to go out on the streets. Yes, take Cameroon by storm, take the government by storm, so that, because I know it is possible, and that is where this word one and indivisible Cameroon irks me so much again. If the other 8 regions of Cameroon now have been playing their politics, drinking their high quality wine, dining, dancing, all rose up one morning and said stop to the war in Northwest, it will stop. But they have not been able to do that. We always see them come out with their Pontinini shoes. They come and form a group that they want to form a coalition opposition. And the first thing that is coming out is about electoral code. Don't you think that it was time for them to form a coalition? Think about preserving lives in Northwest, Southwest first before 2025. Because even if they change the electoral code, and by 2025, everybody is exterminated in Northwest and Southwest, as some people are sitting around there and saying it, who will come out to vote? To whom shall this electoral code serve? Lives first. What matters is a coalition to save life, not a coalition for an electoral reform. Because we are not saying that it is a bad initiative, but the timing is wrong. Because people are dying, people are falling every day. Military people are falling, Amber are falling, innocent people are falling. Look for a common ground, you the so-called opposition party. I've always said that at the moment where we are talking, the problems of Cameroon are above all political parties put together. We need a rethink from a different dimension, and this rethink can only see us through and can only help the population to be with us if the population feels that they are at the center of whatsoever we are supposed to be doing now. Because I'm not sure that the population feels that they are at the center of the electoral code at the moment. Anything done in Cameroon at this time without the population put at the center and their lives that matters is a fiasco.
Can opposition coalition help in resolving Anglophone crisis?
Yeah, Jarvis, opposition coalition, opposition unity in Cameroon, that is what has been on the lips of most Cameroonians today as a result of the meeting that was held between 7 opposition parties in Yaoundé. Despite the fact that the meeting ended abruptly, was aborted by security forces. The press conference, okay, it was aborted. I will say in Cameroon, the opposition actually has heeded to the call of the people. You know, every day on TV channels, people have always asked the question, why can the opposition not come together to work together? You know, in Cameroon, most of the reasons given for the Anglophone crisis and other problems plaguing Cameroon has been that the government in place is not doing anything. It has been attributed to the government. It has been attributed to the politics of the country, and opposition has also been divided over this issue. And that is why you see there is this popular saying that united we stand, divided we fall. So people have often called the opposition to make a common front so as to bring in policies that will directly impact the life of the people in the society in a better way, so as to resolve the problems. So we looked at opposition unity in Cameroon with a better vision for the Cameroonian people, unlike what we have today, might help in resolving the Anglophone crisis and some of the problems also plaguing Cameroon.
Thank you very much. This program comes to you every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30 p.m. Rebroadcast is on Sunday at 10:30, and on Monday at 9:30 p.m. we have a rebroadcast. On Monday at 9:30 p.m. a rebroadcast of this same program. And if you want to be a panelist or you want to be a member of weekly discussion, you can contact me on the number on your screen. To those of you watching us from diaspora, you can still be part of the program by joining us via Skype. When you give us an indication, we can give you our Skype address and give you the topic within the week so that you can join us to discuss on this. I'll leave you with gentlemen briefly. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, Tamer Jarvis. It has always been an honor for me whenever you offer this invitation. And I want to salute the effort of these political parties that are out there.
Thanks for coming.
And a warm and happy Easter to my family back there, especially the Balikumba community there in Balikumba, those in Yaoundé, in Douala, and Carifuna one in Yaoundé. Thank you very much. God bless Cameroon.
Thanks for coming and happy Easter. Maybe you want to wish some people happy Easter?
Yeah, a special Easter Sunday to all the Com community in Douala and to the fount of Com who is right in his palace right now.
Of course, thanks for coming to Mr. Mayor NS, and maybe you want to wish some people happy Easter?
Thank you, Jarvis. I want to wish a happy Easter to all Cameroonians. They are my brothers and sisters out there. They are watching us now, and we know that the resurrection of Christ is the beginning of a new life, and we believe with this resurrection of Christ today, we are going to enter a new life where we think like one brother.
Thank you, Professor Mark, for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Jarvis, for the opportunity. It's always a privilege when we are here to talk about issues that concern Cameroonians and Africans. And I want to wish happy Easter to all Roman Catholics, to all the Protestants, and to those of the Pentecostal milieu. And I'll be wishing Orthodox next week happy Easter, because their own Easter is going to be taking place next week.
Next week.
And sincerely, I want to say happy Easter to my family and to my village people from Kijom Keku and Kijom Ketingo, wheresoever they are right now.
Hello crew, greetings from Bafusam. I just want to find out why is it that you people are preaching against hate speech at the same time using same speech in the studio. Alex Kuma from Bafusam. This one reads, it says, hello House of Commons. I see no politician in Cameroon uniting to fight who. They are there for personal interest. The common man is their problem. They created so much parties to take part of the national cake. This one is coming from Edmond in Kumba. I want to thank you all for participating, all those who took our time to watch us on Facebook. We want to acknowledge you. We want to say that this program comes up every Sunday at exactly 12. You should know that you can be part of this program. Thanks for watching. Just visit our YouTube. It is BT Media Group, our YouTube channel. My Media Prime is our Facebook channel. My Media Prime on Twitter, to get all of our programs, so that you can get all of our programs and know what is happening. Happy Easter to you, Tambe Brian. Happy Easter to you, Mr. Kumlionat. Happy Easter to you, Auntie Edith from Ken Enterprise. Happy Easter to you, the Bishop of Boya, His Lordship Michael Bibi, and of course, happy Easter to you, Reverend Father John Paul Akumchi, and all the faculty and staff of the Catholic University of Boya. Until we meet again, no matter the matter, what matter is your matter, and what should matter for you is that stand together for what you believe, work for what must be done, and love each other in all that you do. To all my people I want, spread the peace, my brother. God bless you. My name is Tamai Jarvis.